This video is going to cover the topic of multi-step percentage stories. Be sure the date and topic are at the top of your page. The essential question for this video will be, what strategies can we use to solve multi-step percentage stories? And a reminder before we start that we've been working with ratios and proportions, and percentages are part of what we talk about with ratios and proportions because the percent is just a ratio out of 100. So even though we are using percentages for this particular video, much of what we have done before will still work. Before we start though, there are some common terms that you can expect to hear when working with these sorts of percentage stories. At times we will be dealing with increased percentages and sometimes we'll be working with decreased percentages. So I'll just mark a few terms that you'll expect to see when you are looking at either of those. So times we might be needing to increase a percentage or using a percentage increase is when we think about things being additionally added on. A markup is a big term, and tax and tip are things that get added on. On the other hand, if something has been subtracted or if there's a markdown or a sale or a discount, those are times that we will be dealing with a decreased percentage. Okay, so now let's look at a story. So we have here a set of Harry Potter books. They are priced at $56, but they are 20% off, right? So this is a discount. We're going to be reducing the price. So there are two steps to the problem. First, we need to figure out how much we will save, and then we need to know how much they will cost. Our first strategy is going to be our friendly tape diagram. So this is going to represent the whole book, and this is $56 right now. Right? We want to have them at 20% off. And so I'm going to break this up into sections that are 20%. And I know 20% goes into 105 times, right? If this is 100% of my book, then this would be 20, 40, 60, and 80. Each of those represent 20% of the total. If that's the case, then we need to divide 56 by 5 to figure out what each of these sections will be worth. And I just do that quick calculation and I find out that it's $11.20. So that means each of these is $11.20, right? They all are worth the same amount. But we are saving 20%, right? So that means we don't have to pay one of these sections, right? This is now going to be removed. We're not going to need to pay that. So step one was figuring out what 20% was, and that was $11.20. But step two now is to figure out how much I have to pay, or we would have to pay after the discount. And if we do that, we'll just subtract, and we'll end up getting $44.80. So that's the new price of the book. Since we're talking about a discount, our second method would involve taking our original price and subtracting the value of our 20% of the original price. And remember that we'll need to write percentages as decimals for this. So a quick reminder that if we have 20%, we're going to have that decimal at the end that moves once, twice. It's going to be equal to 20 hundredths, right? 20% is 20 out of 100 or 20 hundredths. So the book costs $56, but then we're going to subtract what we get when we multiply 20% times our $56, right? Of tells us that we are multiplying here. So 20% times our $56. And I would of course do PEMDAS, right? I'd multiply first. And again, I'm just going to do my multiplication here on the side on my paper. But when I do that, I get that $11.20. And then I'm going to do my subtraction. And when I subtract, I get the same $44.80 that I got with method 1. A different way, same result. Our third option is to find the percentage that we actually need. And remember that the whole price, right, before there's anything happening to it, is 100%, right? That's 100% of the price for the books, right? But we're saving 20%. So I could say, oh, well, it was 100% and I'm subtracting 80%. What we're actually looking at, therefore, is paying 80% total. We're paying 80% of the book with this sale. So if this were a decimal, right, remember that we can move our decimal here once, twice to the left. This is really 80% of our original $56. And again, I'm calculating on the side, but if I do that multiplication, once again, I get $44.80. And I'm now just seeing that I wrote 88, sorry there. That should say 80 cents as well. 3 different ways to do it, but I got the same answer every time. Here's another scenario. Store owners need to place a markup on their items before they sell them to customers so they can make a profit, right? That's how business works. So we have here a pair of shoes that's sold to John's shoe store for 50 bucks. He adds a 60% markup, so he's adding a percentage to the price so that he can make his profit. And then we want to know for how much does he sell the shoes. So I'm going to use the same 3 methods here. So I'm starting again with the tape diagram, and I know that the original 100% of the shoe is $50, right? John's going to add a 60% markup, so I need to figure out what 60% is here, and it doesn't divide really evenly to put it into 60s. So I'm actually going to break this up into 10% sections, because I know 10 times 10 makes a nice 100. And if I want to figure out how much each of these sections is worth, well, I had my $50 and I divided it into 10 sections. That would be 5. So each of these is $5. But I want 60%, right? So that means, right, each one of these is 10%. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. This much here, right, is 60%. Each one of these is $5. So that means John's percent increase will be equivalent to $30, right? Each one of these is 10%. Each one of them is $5 times 6 to make 60% means it's a $30 markup. So that was step 1. But he doesn't sell the shoe for $30. It was $50, and then he added on $30. He is selling these shoes now for $80. Our second option is to look at the original price plus, remember this is an addition, plus 60% of the original price. So we know that it would be combined, which means we're looking at our $50 plus 60%, notice I'm writing it as a decimal, of the $50, and of means multiply. And I'll just do my PEMDAS, right? So I'm going to calculate. I'm going to punch that in there into my calculator. I have 60% times 50 is going to give me 30. And then I would just add that on and get that exact same $80 price. Step 2, or option 2. And our third option is to find the percentage that we need. So we know that the shoe starts out at 100% of the price, but then he marks up or adds on an additional 60%. So that means this is $160, or excuse me, 160% of the price is what he will be charging. But of course, I'm going to turn that into a decimal. So I'm going to go once, twice, right? So it ends up as 1 6/10, right, of the original 50 bucks. And again, if I calculate that, I am going to end up with the exact same $80. Same answer, 3 ways. And lastly, I'll leave you with one to do however you would like to solve. A jacket costs $45. It's on sale for 40% off, right? So we are discounting. I want you to find out, please, the price that you'll pay for the jacket. And you can do it in any strategy you'd like, but I want that to be in your notes when you show your homework tomorrow. And remember that the essential question of this video was, what strategies can we use to solve multi-step percent stories? This is an example of a multi-step percentage story. Solve it in any of the 3 ways that you'd like, and we'll have our notes and our discussion about this in class.